you think is gonna get fucking clocked, quote unquote, when everyone is suspected of being fucking trans? I hate this. It's like Ben Shapiro talking about how fucking masculine he is. No, dog, you're gonna get transvestigated, Ben. Is it Ben or is it Jen? I don't know what we're doing here. Trump is live right now.
From now on, women's sports will be only for women. And now we're very importantly getting it out of women's sports. That's taking place very strongly. So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you, huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. It would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories, that's a lot, and invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. Last year, a male cyclist posing as a woman competed in the 800-mile Arizona Trail Race, a very big deal in cycling, and obliterated the women's course record by nearly 5.5 hours. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, huh? 5.5 hours, so, but you have to hear the weightlifting records. You think that's bad. The weightlifting's worse. In 2023, a man in women's powerlifting broke 2 world records and outlifted his closest female opponent in one event by 440 pounds. And they continue to defend themselves, Mr. Congressman. You know that, right? They continue to defend themselves. We hope they continue onward because I don't think we can lose a race. This was one of the big reasons that we all won, and it's one of the big reasons that we had a record, a landslide like they haven't seen before, very often anyway. And who could forget last year's Paris Olympics where a male boxer stole the women's gold medal after brutalizing his female opponent so viciously that she had to forfeit just after 46 seconds, and she was a championship fighter. And actually, they had 2 women or 2 people that transitioned, and both of them won gold medals, and they won them very convincingly. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
Awful reality of Donald Trump writing yet another executive order specifically designed to on 0.1% of the population, not even 0.1. It's just like the smallest subsect of the population, specifically being cruel for no reason other than the fact that, you know, it's a great distraction for a bunch of Americans.
So many people that have worked so hard in the political establishment, and they're before me largely, and I think I'm gonna miss a few. It always happens when you do this, but it's just one of those things. But we have many senators here, many governors here, many state attorneys generals here. They're all over the place, actually. I see. Some of them went after me, but they failed. And they're really friends, and they're friends of women's sports, that I can tell you. So Senator Marsha Blackburn, where's Marsha? Hi. Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, Katie.
Are trans people allowed in Japan? I don't think they give a shit.
Where's Mike? Mike? I love his new haircut. I love that haircut, Mike.
Asmongold thinks it's amazing. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is who this fucking bill is for. Asmongold. A person who doesn't leave his house, who does not give a shit, who's never going to encounter a trans person, okay? It's just a messaging bill. It's not that big. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. People don't understand it. They think this is like, oh my God, what an incredible legislative agenda. This is for people, and not Asmongold, because he's rich, but this is for people who watch Asmongold, whose lives are, they're poor as they hate their jobs, and they are desperately looking for a reason as to why everything sucks. Otherwise, they're going to kill themselves, okay? And Donald Trump extends a lifeline to these. He tells them, you know why sucks? Not because of your boss. Not because of your dumb job. Not because of how awful everything is, okay? Not because of how unaffordable things are. Everything sucks because there are 19 trans athletes in the entire nation. And this is all done to serve this purpose of distraction. But there are still thousands of people that will be harmed in this process. Not because they can't enjoy high school athletics or whatever, but because this agenda is straight up seeking out random people who are not harming anybody at the behest of making people like this happy. 19 mentally ill man pretending to be a woman. They're like, you don't understand it, and that's fine. Here's where I draw the line though. You don't understand it, but then you make it everybody else's problem. And it's so funny because like, it just sucks. This administration sucks in very meaningful ways and in very glaringly obvious ways as well. And seemingly no one is tasked or interested in actually fighting back against it. And the most pathetic losers who have absolutely nothing in their lives get great pleasure out of this kind of domination, because weak people love when other vulnerable people, even more vulnerable, more marginalized people, get dunked on. It makes them feel strong. Weak people feel strong when the systems are dominating others. I will never understand it. It is not something that I comprehend. It is not something that I can understand. Like, celebrating a move like this is so stupid. And before everybody does these 7 million think pieces about biological males in high school sports is devastating us on, once again, there's like 10 of them, man. Having this much conversation around 10 fucking people, do you really think it's that pressing of an issue? Or do you think they're just using this to, you know, change your focus a little bit? You're an absolute moron. There are more congresspersons that vote on bills like this than there are trans athletes. Like, they don't touch your shit at all. They're not a part of your life. They're not ruining your life. They're not doing anything. And because we are a bunch of weak-willed men, we love the prospect of dominating those who are less fortunate than we are. That's all we got. That's all we got in our hearts is hatred. Hatred born out of our own vulnerabilities, our own weaknesses. We're so sad and pathetic. We recognize that sucks and we don't have any solutions for it. So we just sit around and cross our fingers and hope that the God King Donald Trump dominates our enemies that we've imagined. Meanwhile, you know who also gets f***ed over in this anti-trans nonsense? All these ugly sitting behind Donald Trump. Who the f*** do you think is gonna get clocked, quote unquote, when everyone is suspected of being trans? I hate this shit. It's like Ben Shapiro talking about how masculine he is. No, dog, you're gonna get transvestigated, Ben. Is it Ben or is it Jen? I don't know what we're doing here. You can't abide by this rigid binary that doesn't exist when it comes to gender. Anyway, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was actually very misogynistic of me. I should have used better language instead of saying these ugly. I should have said a lot of TERFs are incredibly clocky, because it's true. And they weirdly think, oh no, I'm cis. If we eradicate all trans people, no one will suspect me of being trans ever again. And it's like, no, they won't, because it has nothing to do with this designation, okay? And it has everything to do with misogyny. But you're too stupid to understand that, okay? Not because you're a woman, just because you're a Republican, just so you understand. You're too stupid to understand that this has nothing to do with like hating trans people in particular. A lot of the anti-trans rhetoric and anti-trans sentiment revolves around misogyny still. Yeah, so have fun. You can have penis inspection day for your daughters now. Who the do you think gets harmed in that situation? It's called penis inspection day. Who do you think gets harmed in that situation? The 19 trans athletes, or the tens of thousands, if not millions, of cis girls that are participating in athletic endeavors? My point is, anti-trans is completely unnecessary, greatly overemphasized. People make it seem as though it's the most pressing issue on the planet when it's not. And then they don't realize that like the mechanisms of enforcement are unnecessarily restrictive for all people. And considering that there are statistically less trans people, then yeah, you're most likely going to end up harming a bunch of cis women. They're still talking about like matchups in sports. Brother, they are going to... I don't want to say anything. I'm not. I'm done. I'm done. Nobody gives a f*** about fairness. Nobody cares about sports. Shut the f*** up. It's just a way to offer permission structure to shit on trans people. That's it, dude. That's it. It's irrelevant, okay? It is irrelevant. It is utterly irrelevant. Trans people do not exist in the field of sports. let alone exist as a domineering force. I have lost my mind at this point after literally almost a decade of Joe Rogan-infused conversations greatly overemphasizing the magical, mystical deities that are trans athletes, trans women athletes specifically. Holy dude. People unironically sit around and assume that trans people are just like the most dominant forces, and yet they just get owned all the time.
Doing a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, that's a great point too. Trans people dominate in the field of sports, but they suck at being troops. They must not work in the military because they're the worst. They're the worst troops of all time. And at a certain point, you have to realize they're just saying they want to trans people, okay? They want to forcibly detransition trans people and maybe perhaps kill them, okay? Or, you know, have them kill themselves in the process. That's it. That's the goal. The goal is to stop trans people from existing. It doesn't matter if you don't understand it, okay? It doesn't matter if you don't know a single trans person. Mind your fucking business. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, why the would this ever be a pressing issue in your mind? Why would this ever be top of mind? Why would this ever be something that you care about? This is an issue entirely dedicated to trans people. They care about this issue because this is about destroying them. And also, this is an issue dedicated entirely to the likes of the hyper-fixated transphobic weirdos.
In Los Angeles in 2028, my administration will not stand by and watch men beat and batter female athletes, and we're just not going to let it happen, and it's going to end, and it's ending right now, and nobody's going to be able to do a damn thing about it because when I speak, we speak with authority. And for the same reason, just to make sure.
The point always is, what does this got to do with the price of eggs? And the answer is everything. Because the more he does this, the more your parents won't pay attention to the fact that the price of eggs is only going up and it's not going down. They go, hey, you know what? They did the trans thing, and that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like the administration is doing stuff. That's it. That's all this is.
This is a person that I've been watching. Fought hard. Riley was a 12-time All-American. Well, that's pretty good. 12-time All-American.
Yeah, and we're celebrating the biggest losers like this Riley chick. Oh my God, I hate her.
Sacrificed countless hours in the pool just for a chance at the title. It's so important to her. She gave up everything and just gave everything she had.
This loser. She tied for 5th place 7 years ago. Give it up. I swear to God. She would have literally killed herself if it wasn't for the goddamn Republican grift that is oh so sweet. Being a Republican is the most annoying thing you can be. I swear to God. You know why it's one of the most annoying things? This is exactly what liberals do that I fucking hate. Constantly cry in the smarmiest, most moralistic ways you can imagine. Just constantly being like, I am so passionate about this issue because I'm a loser. That's all this is. You lost to 4 cis women. What are you talking about? I gotta stop using the word in general. I'm sorry, once again.
I rescinded federal funds to, and this is so important, to any program that promotes transgender ideology using taxpayer dollars. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And last week, I effectively banned the chemical castration and surgical mutilation of minor children. Can you believe I even have to say that? I banned governor. I banned. That's just like, who would ever think we have to even say that? Last week, I banned. Every day, we're ending the extremism of the last 4 years. We have other things that are just as ridiculous, not having to do with the subject, but just as ridiculous. Open borders where people are allowed to pour in from all over the world, from jails and prisons and mental institutions and insane asylums, people that are very sick, people that are very evil, killers, murderers. Many of them murdered more than one person. And we have to justify the fact that we're moving them out. We are moving them out in tremendous numbers. Tom Homan and Christie are doing a fantastic job, and the governor and other governors too. But that we have to even fight for this stuff is just incredible. And the media doesn't want to talk about it because it's nothing they can talk about. It's just they just don't want to really talk very much about it. Serious problem, but we're doing a great job, and the people understand, and that's why we won in a landslide. You know, they made it easy, and at some point, you know, we have to hope they do come around because we can never let this happen again. What's happened to our country, we can never let this happen again. So we are restoring sanity and common sense very simply to our government. We're defending the rights and safety and pride of the American people, including our great, great, great female athletes. What athletes you are, too, I tell you. And, you know, I'm not allowed to say this politically. It could end my career. They're really beautiful people. These are beautiful people. But you know, like everything else, it's a little bit different today. You're not allowed to say that because if you call a woman or a girl beautiful, that's the end of your career. But let's take a chance on it, Mike. Let's take a chance. So I want to thank everybody for being here. It's fantastic. And this is sort of a big, big day. It shouldn't have even been necessary to take place. This started a long time ago, and we ended it today. And I'm going to sign the executive order right now, and everything I said will go into effect immediately, okay? Thank you.
Sit down, please.
Down front.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you.
You know, if you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on. Secret Service is worried about them. If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? You ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature because this is, you know, this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
It's crazy to frame this as protecting men from women from a dude who was found liable for and got caught on camera lying about it. Dude, conservatives love doing that shit. They love harming women and then turning around and making it seem like the only way to protect women is by on trans women. Anyway.